One,
Yeah.
I invoke conspiracy theories, so longtime listeners of the show know I have to ask you. Molly O'Neill, have you ever seen a flying saucer, and do you believe in them?
I have never seen a flying saucer. Do I believe in them? I believe in the possibility of them. I don't know if that entirely answers it. I don't know that I believe in the version that we have put into movies and media, but I believe in the possibility of things larger than our own imaginations and larger than our own existence.
Fair enough. One more oddball question, because I saw this on Twitter and I can't not ask about this. You described yourself as an uncredited co-biographer of Robert Pattinson, Eternally Yours. So one, how does that come about? And two, how do you feel about Mr. Pattinson taking on the mantle of Batman?
I laughed when I saw this on your list of questions. So this came up a couple of weeks ago. Everyone started buzzing about Robert Pattinson, who, had not been in the news cycle for a minute. But if you travel all the way back to, when would that have been? 2007, maybe 2006 and 2008. He was preparing to take on the role of Edward in the Twilight movies. And so I am, in fact, I'm not uncredited in particular. I brought this to show you. This beautiful. Is Robert Pattinson. Let's see, Robert Pattinson, Eternally Yours, by Isabel Adams. And I am half of Isabel Adams, as the other half is my friend and colleague editor, Martha Mihalik. And this is, it's the kind of book that you spend your like $6 of allowance on at the Scholastic Book Fair, even though your mom probably wanted you to get something more substantial. And then you and your friends like pore over the photo insert all through lunch, and you like learn all the facts. And basically it came about because my boss at the time, Brenda Owen, realized that there was an opportunity, and that to a certain degree it didn't matter who was going to play that role, that they were going to be a huge superstar. And she basically said, let's beat everyone else to getting a book out there about him. So from the moment he was announced, we had 9 days to research and write this book, which led to a fair amount of fluff content. It was also a very different moment of the internet, so there simply was not as much stuff on the internet as we know now. And so there were very limited, and he'd only played 1 or 2 very small roles prior to that. So there just wasn't a lot of information out there about him. So, our research involved things like transcribing Spanish teeny bopper magazines that had done interviews with him, like when he was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter. We called the theater that he had grown up, the community theater he'd grown up in acting in London, and had an interview with a woman who had worked there at the time, what she remembered about him. We bought the photos that she had in their archive, and they were some of the wonderful photos in this insert. So we put this book together.
So 9 days?
9 days, yeah. We basically drank a lot of coffee and a lot of wine, back and forth, and discovered that deep inside all of us, there is in fact a Tiger Beat reporter that can emerge. And we decided to put it under a pseudonym because we weren't sure that we wanted to get the Google alerts forever. But we actually thank ourselves on the title page. In tiny little print, it says the author would like to thank Martha Mihalik and Molly O'Neill for their valuable contributions to this project. And it's become one of these things. I mean, frankly, we had a lot of fun with it, even though it was this crazy, intense schedule. And, it was so quick that it couldn't even necessarily have hired an author to do this project. There's almost no way, like, you'd have gotten through the contract process before the thing needed to be done. And so my boss said, you're a good writer, find another editor who's a good writer who you trust, like, do this thing, paid us a little bit of money. And in fact, I bought a really great pair of boots with that money. And for years, anytime anyone complimented me on them, I said, thanks, Robert Pattinson bought them for me, which was not untrue. And so every time he pops into the news cycle, we enjoy telling people, because it's one of the things we kind of forget about. You know, it was like 10 plus years ago. But it is a fun little party trick to point out that we were, in fact, at one time, the foremost unauthorized biographers of Robert Pattinson.
And now that he is going to be Batman and forever part of our shared canon, are you excited and ready to show the boots and the book off some more?
Yes. Any chance to talk about? He's eternally ours, as we joke. The book is called Robert Pattinson, Eternally Yours. So anytime he hits the news cycle, Martha and I will message each other and say, eternally ours.
And for big-time esteemed audience members, big fans of the show, you know I'm obviously a Batman maniac. I talk about him all the time.
And so
I have not seen Twilight. I read the book, and I felt like, just the first one, and I felt like I had done my time, so I didn't need to watch the movie. I had one of my friend's wife who was really into the books explained to me all the sequels, and I felt that was a better version than if I actually sat down and read them. I was hearing her excitedly explain to me that, wait, there's a werewolf and then there's a baby. What? Okay, fine. So I haven't had that experience to soil me one way or the other. I saw a picture of Robert Pattinson in a tuxedo. Looks like Bruce Wayne. I'm on board. Bring on more Batman movies.
I mean, it sounds like you might be someone who would need to read Robert Pattinson. I do. Yours.
I should read it and make it the book of the week at the blog. Bring it back.
oh my. You will be would you like me to do a short reading?
Sure.
I will do a short reading. So at a certain point, we had completely run out of things to say because this was like 180 something page book. And there was not a lot of information in the world about Robert Pattinson, but there was even less information out in the world about his love life. And you can't leave out what his love life is like in a book like this. No. Like that's kind of the whole
all
point.
I want to know about. Please go on.
Right. So I'm trying to find this. I promise it'll be worth the wait.
Oh, this is very exciting. A live reading from Robert Pattinson, Eternally Yours by the author. You never know what you're going to get with this show. What a wonderful treat.
That's right. So the opening to chapter 10, Rob the Heartthrob.
Heartthrob. Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Hunkola. Haughty. Heart-meltingly handsome. Sizzling. Smokin'. Juicy man candy, sugar lips, stud muffin, hot, swoon. That was our opening to the chapter. As you can say,
you've stolen my breath and deeply moved me with that passage.
So the great story about that passage was we went on Facebook and asked all of our friends, what are some synonyms for the word hottie? And then we took them all and made the list. And that was the opening, which is all to say crowdsourcing your research is an entirely valid part of the research process for bookmakers of any sort.
I don't know how much of a hottie he is, but I can't tell. He's got a strong jaw, nice pair of lips, going to look great in a cowl. It'll be fine.